finally, signs.
When you run for Congress here, what county is it? A certain county? Or?
It is all of Lee County. It's pretty much all of Naples except for Golden Gate. It's Marco Island, and then it's a little sliver of Charlotte County, including Boca Grande. So it's a good-sized district geographically. We're trying to get it spread out all over the place. Just finally got our signs.
I travel a lot and I talk to a lot of people. You go to a bigger county like Miami, they don't have the problems we have here. I mean, they got their other types of problems.
Yeah.
But you sit down and you say, man.
Now this is kind of, we're kind of, especially Lee County, we're kind of a weird, we're halfway in between being rural and urban, and we're not quite either, so we don't have a small community.
Let me think, look, and what I've been finding out, the older generation wants to keep it pure rural. And the other half says, wait a second, we need to change.
Yeah, this has been, I grew up in this area, and this has been an ongoing struggle forever. I mean, you think it's bad now. 20 years ago when I was in high school, it was,
listen,
it was way worse.
12 years ago, I came up here working for a bank. They sent me up here. I was the guy who actually approved the car loans. Okay? And I was trying to help people out so bad. You know, they will call me, what's going on? We got $25 million, we need to move. I said, listen, you don't understand. These are the most honest people I've ever seen in my life. I mean, I was sitting in front of, you can see like the couple going through hell. Have one car and it's broken down. They can afford the payment. Their income is not there. I said, listen, what you got to tell me is, give me a phone number where they verify that you make $50 a month. You babysit. $50. I can't do that.
You know, income, that is another problem with this area, and I mean, it's why we're getting so hard hit now, is because incomes have always been low here. I mean, this is totally service-based. It's construction, real estate, and service. And you take away the construction and the real estate, all you got left is you got stores, you got restaurants, you got hotels.
When you want a good storage, come down and sit down with me over in my office. What I do, I'm a bail bonds.
Okay.
And I will show you some stuff that you can write a book for your campaign.
What's your bail bond says? Where you at?
We have one in Naples and one in Fort Myers. I got issues right now cases that I can show you that will blow you mind.
I believe it. Yeah, you know, what we do with our campaign is we document everything on camera, and then we put all the raw footage and we put it up online because we're trying to show people the real picture.
Go Indianapolis.
And stuff that I see. How can you explain to me? You got a guy, 2 cars, the guy in front. This is all in the same drug deal. The guy in the front gets caught with 3 kilos of cocaine. The guy in the back with 1 kilo of cocaine. The guy in the front has money to pay for an attorney. We'll fall out of them. Comes here, rips us, and you butt. Case thrown out. The guy that has the 1 kilo, 35 years. I said, wait a second. How? Or better yet, I got a story for you. A 69-year-old lady has a parking ticket 5 years ago. Collier County, of course. They put it in her windshield wiper while she's in the beach. It was a parking ticket, a $25 ticket. They send 11 police officers 5 years later to arrest her.
That's Collier County.
You know, I went to bail her out, and this lady was like, not even a nervous wreck, but she couldn't talk. So I finally got her out of the building, gave her a cup of coffee, some water, and 20 minutes driving around with her, take her to the office to do the paperwork. Then she calmed down. But you turn around and you're looking at these police officers laughing. Like, man, you guys are criminals, man. You know.
It's, you know,
how can you explain that, man? Seriously.
We criminalize the most trivial things here, and yet we let. I mean, look at these guys. You know, from like AIG. You know, they spend $400,000.
And even at then, even then,
we just after they get bailed out.
The day after, $400,000, the guy says, I took it.
Yeah,
so what?
On a day spa, like $150,000.
I had to go play golf. I had to go play golf. It was an expensive day.
Yeah, we already planned it. That was their
Can't break my. I'm sorry. It was, we had a meeting and we couldn't break it.
Yeah.
But I mean, you look at stuff. You say, how? It's like our nature, our ethics are being just thrown out the window.
I tell you, the guy that was Commissioner Judah, that was he's I remember when we saw him speak earlier in the thing, and he summed up perfectly. You know, and this is a guy who's been in the county commission forever. He said Florida has the worst old boys network of any state, possibly with the exception of Louisiana. And this coming from a guy who's been on the county commission for what, 20 years now? So if anybody knows, and if you got a guy in that position who's saying that, you can imagine how bad it actually is.
Oh, you don't know what they've done to me. Yeah. I got a lawsuit right now of help. I actually have it in writing. That the reason they didn't hire me is because I'm Spanish. I actually walked into Cali County and says, you know, most people want to walk in here and rip your head off. He says, what do you want? I said, I want to give you a hug. Because when I get through you, if you're not famous, I'm going to make you famous. Then they proceeded to tell me that I have a criminal background. Guess they didn't do the research. My wife's the second highest FBI agent in the state of Florida. And I have an FBI clearance. I said, boy, I'll see you in court.
Yeah, I would say you have a case.
I looked at them and they even sent 2 sheriffs. I live in Lee County. They sent 2 sheriffs from Cali County to Lee County to ask me for the letter back.
Nice. Let me go stick this in the ground.
Meanwhile, I got 2 video cameras recording. No.
I'll see you inside.
All right, man. I guess you'll be filming everything today. That's the man.
Don't put that underneath the head. I'm fired up, man.
Good.
I'm fired up.
I look pretty rough.
No, she said, well, he doesn't look so bad. And he wouldn't have hurt me.
I'm glad I didn't scare her. It's too bad. Too bad he wasn't here. I mean, he would have scared her. So.
Oh, I don't know.
Hey, how you doing?
How you doing? It's good to see you.
Good to see you. How you doing?
Good.
Jeff, okay. Good to have you here.
Thanks.
Brought your own camera, man?
Always.
That's impressive.
All right.
Thanks.
Hi, Jeff.
Hey, how you doing?
Good, good.
Look out. Go ahead and figure out where we can grab some space here. About this table. Not anyone else. Has anybody got this staked out here?
No, sir. You're welcome to
All
go
right.
for it, right?
Hi, how you doing?
Fine, thank you. How are you?
Good. I'm Jeff.
I'm good for you.
Yes.
This over here.
I have the name.
Association.
You got it?
That's
Okay,
who's
yeah.
sponsoring
Okay.
tonight.
Yeah, I have a friend of mine. Actually, he works on the campaign. His name's Chuck Meyer. He used to work at the news press. He used to work the business beat. So he said nothing but good things about you guys.
Well, good.
So,
I'm glad.
13.4% listed capital rules like the state. 33%. The first and only time
I work for hospital.
yeah, I know.
Today's has a personal issue.
Interesting stuff here. Hey, how you doing? Good to see you again.
Nice to see you, Jeff. Yes, indeed. How are you?
Excellent.
Good.
Sir, hi. Can we have you read over our literature for Mr. Wilkinson?
I'll go with him.
All right, thank you. Hi.
Okay, I'm going to go outside. We got a good game.
Save the gas today, right?
How you doing? Good to see you.
How you doing?
Good.
They're just outside of Augusta.
Oh, I have to. Now we've been.
How you doing?
About 20%. So I'm Roger Desjardins. Jeff George. Hey, Jeff. Very good to meet you. I work for Candidtae.
Okay. Ken's a good guy.
He is a good guy. I've known him for a long time. I went to work for him in January last year.
Yeah, he's an old Army intelligence like I am. So,
Okay, is that what you did?
I mean, I got to vote for him based on that. Like,
It's
something.
the brotherhood and all that.
Yeah, man.
Good luck to you.
You too. Sit down. Go over my speech and say, looks like I can we don't get to talk.
Here for the primary, so you know how this works. Is say the pledge, and stand up please and go through the pledge. Virginia?
Have you got the volume turned up? Oh, yes, you do.
I'd like to introduce you to Virginia. Virginia just became a citizen of the United States. About 2.5 months ago, she got her citizenship. She worked a year doing it. And just before the registration closed, she went down and got her registration to vote. And with Virginia, what I understand, this is the prime reason she got her citizenship, so she could vote. And you want to say a few words? No? I told her you could lean on me if she gets nervous or anything like that. But Tammy, would you please come up? Commissioner Hall has a few words.
Thank you, Greg, and Virginia, congratulations. I had an opportunity to read a little bit of Virginia's background, and she's from Mexico and came here as a young girl. And while she does not live in North Fort Myers, she works here. But I think what's important tonight, and I appreciate Greg inviting me to speak and say a couple words at the opening, is how important this election cycle really is. We have an opportunity to make sure that our elected officials hear your voice. And that's what these forums are about. And I want to thank Greg and his team and board of directors for creating an opportunity for the residents of North Fort Myers to actually get a chance to meet face-to-face these wonderful candidates. We have an opportunity to be sure that we speak on behalf of North Fort Myers and that these candidates understand what's important to this community. So please be sure that you and your neighbors and your sisters and your brothers and everyone you know, number one, is registered to vote, and more important, that they get out and vote. There is no reason not to vote. With early voting that we have at various offices, with absentee ballots, and with the opportunity just to go to our precinct and actually make our vote right there. So I would encourage all of you. There's so many issues that are on the coming to us in the future, and it is so important that you truly recognize how important these local, state, and federal officials are to your everyday life. You are not arm's length with these issues and the decisions that we as your elected officials are making. I'm so honored to be your county commissioner. I'm so happy I'm not running this year. And I want to thank the candidates. You have very busy schedules, and we really appreciate North Fort Myers, you taking the time to allow our residents here in this part of Lee County to actually meet you face to face. So I wish you all the best of luck this evening, and I want to thank the residents for making time in their schedules to be here to actually learn more about these wonderful candidates. And Virginia, we can't thank you enough for joining our wonderful country.
Just a few words here to get the way that the meeting is going to be conducted. For those over here for the primary, it'd be fairly similar. First of all, I want to tell you that attendance at these meetings is really difficult. I know that we've contacted at least 4,000 households in North Fort Myers through email. I know personally, my wife and myself, we sent out about 156 letters, websites, anything you can do, talking to the barber, putting signs up all over town. And someday I'll find a magic formula for getting folks out. I don't know what it is, but I honestly thought that we'd have more here for the general election than we did the primary, and we don't, and that's unfortunate. But there's a lot of people interested. I just don't understand the voting. Maybe you folks do because you're more in tune with it, but my gosh. Anyhow, the meeting tonight, we're going to go ahead. Got the candidates up front here. The seats have the name. I'd like to ask too, if there's sometimes the entourage for the candidates, when the candidate speaks, they clap and scream and all that. Please don't do that tonight. At the end, when the candidates are through, please then give them all a well-deserved hand. But no remarks or anything, please, while they're speaking. And we have questions. I'll uncover them. Most of the candidates, in fact, I think every one of them probably understand, or I've talked to personally about the questions. And the questions are basically, if elected, what 2 items would you either incorporate, or try to incorporate, or change? And that's just the 2 items here. For some it's easier than others maybe. And the second question, how do we as voters measure your performance? And I think that's fairly simple. And if you forget, like the last time some did, I'll have that clearly read. Okay, Lee Memorial Health System. Are there any candidates here? I know there are a couple for sure. Would you please stand up? And Lee, would you go ahead there and pass the short introduction? Just ask you a short introduction, your district and the position and your name. Go ahead.
Good evening. I'm Anna Clark. I'm running for Lee Memorial District 1. I'm originally from New Jersey. I live in Cape Coral in the northwest section, and I've been there for the last 16 years.
Thank you.
I'm Dr. Stephen Brown. I'm from Sanibel Island. I'm the only doctor actually who's running for the board, and if I get elected, I'll be the only doctor on the board. I'm not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I really care about medical care in this area. The other reason I'm running is when I retired, my wife said having me around the house was like having a grand piano in the kitchen, and told me to go find something to do. So here I am running for hospital.
I'm Jason Moon. I'm running for the hospital board in District 3. I am from Fort Myers, born and raised here, actually born at Lee Memorial. Grew up in Fort Myers, went away to school, and back, been raising a family here, and I'm delighted to be running for the hospital board.
Thank you. Any more? Okay, well, we'll kick off here. U.S. Congress, then state reps, property appraiser, sheriff, and county commissioners. And it's an alphabetical order. So the first U.S. Congress candidate is Jeff George. Jeff? And when Jeff gets through, Bob, and you come up, and then everybody, just follow if you could. And there again, you have a question up here, and I'll uncover it. And what I did, because I had one person drop out planned, I'm going to give the U.S. Congress 5 minutes instead of the 4 minutes. Give you 1 more minute because one person did. Well, let me explain that. I had a phone call yesterday from the mother of Nick Thompson, and the idea was, Nick was going to be here tonight. He's running for the House, the House of Representatives, and I thought that, well, he's going to call to cancel out. But his mother, it wasn't so much that, except that he was called. He's right now in California, and he just did a taping of the Dr. Phil show, and he'll be on TV. If you don't need any more information, his mother's out there, and she'll be more than glad to explain what it's all about. But I think maybe the Dr. Phil show is more important maybe than this one. But I still got to bite. I got to bite the bullet here on it. I'm going to give him. I'm going to razz him for not being here though. But so let's see. Okay, Jeff, you want to? Oh, one more thing, please. Very important. Timing. Some of you are familiar with this. Okay. See, I got a stop sign here. I've carried this for years. And the purpose of this is, clock over here, I'm going to be sitting right in front, and I'll get your attention, and I'll stand up and shove this in front of you. But after you see the sign, 30 seconds, then you can wrap it up, okay? So for those that have 4 minutes, at 3.5, I'll go ahead there and wave this in your face, and 4.5 for the ones running for the U.S. Congress. Okay?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jeff George, and I'm running with no party affiliation for the U.S. House of Representatives, District 14. I have to say a big thank you to all of you that came out here tonight. It's really wonderful to see you. And being here really is starting to bring this campaign home for me. I grew up in North Cape Coral, and so I spent a fair time not only in Cape Coral, but here in North Fort Myers. And the thing that I love about North Fort Myers is with all the changes that happen in this area and all the growth that we've seen here in North Fort Myers, somehow it always seems like North Fort Myers stays the same in my heart. Not exactly sure why that is. I'm not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I love being here. So thank you. As I said, I grew up here in Southwest Florida, and with the exception of the 5 years that I spent in the U.S. Army, I've lived and worked here most of my life. And if there's one thing I know, it's that the people of this district are not being represented in Washington, D.C. This is a problem that we have not only in this district, but all across the country. In this district in particular, unfortunately, we have Representative Mack, who doesn't get out as much as he should from everything that I hear from everybody. And that's a problem, because right now, we've all been suffering because of a corrupt federal government that's hopelessly divided along party lines. It's brought us nothing but the threat of war without end, failed energy and environmental policies, irresponsible government spending, and this disastrous, unregulated casino-style economy based on nothing more than more and more debt. Now, when I look at these two questions, I could probably stand up here for an hour and talk about all of the issues that we need to fix in the federal government. I would love to talk more about resolving the war on terror. I would love to talk more about sustaining the environment. But I think the big issue that's on everybody's mind right now, of course, is the economy. Now, it's not just enough for us to bail out Wall Street by adding to the taxpayer burden of a national debt that's already over $10 trillion. And not only do we have this national debt, but we have debt in every sector. We see debt in the banking sector. We see debt in personal household finances. Everywhere. It seems that we have an economy right now that's based on nothing more but more and more debt. And that's got to change. We've got to make sure that if we're going to be spending $700 billion plus on bailing out the big boys, that they're held accountable, that they're held to the same standards as everybody else. We've got to make sure that those who have practiced financial malfeasance are held both economically, financially, and legally accountable for what they've done. Now, all of this talk about Wall Street that you hear on the news every day doesn't really sum up the problem, because we know the problems in this country's economy are not on Wall Street. The real problem is here on Main Street. The real problem is that we as Americans, we don't seem to have the kind of economic opportunities that we had in the past. The jobs aren't there, and no place is, I think, hurting more right now than here in Southwest Florida. We built this economy of this area on real estate and construction and service, and now with the real estate market where it is, so many people that I talk to are out of work. So many people's businesses are going under, and we have to do something about that. We've got to do something from the federal level to improve household income by promoting higher wages. We've got to guarantee universal health care for every single American. We've got to make sure that the pension benefits are there and protected, and we've got to do more than we're doing now to assist in creating options to foreclosure. We've also got to make sure that if we're going to talk about wages, that we're creating job and business opportunities through federal investment in local infrastructure, education, and above all, incentives to transition to a truly 21st century economy. We need to make sure that the business incentives are there for renewable energies, particularly solar power in this area. We live in the Sunshine State, and we should be leading the nation in solar power development, and we're not there yet. And when we look at what's going on in Congress right now, they're still struggling over passing a basic tax cut, a basic tax incentive for developing solar power. That's got to change. We've got to make sure that there is a fair tax system that protects everybody. We've got to cut waste. We've got to reduce our military commitments around the world. And above all, we've got to be realistic that we need more revenue. And I love to talk more about that, but I'm getting the sign here. So I just want to point out that tonight you're going to hear from a lot of candidates, and we're all going to come up here and we're going to talk about change. The question that you have to ask yourself, and the question that's up there, is how do you verify that change? Well, what we're doing with our campaign is we're videotaping everything that I do and say on the campaign trail, and we're going to take that camera with us to Washington. Now, everything that I say up here tonight and everything that I've done is available for you to see on jeffgeorgeforcongress.com. And I hope that you remember, when you go to the polls on November 4th, now more than ever, this district truly needs a really independent voice in Congress. And not only do I want to be your voice in Congress, but I want to be your eyes and ears as well. Thank you.